Internet! Hello, you lovelies! Just watched episode 6 of What If Season 3, and this was the Kate Bishop Hawkeye episode alongside Simu Liu's Shang-Chi, continuing the duo theme of Season 3, where there's a lot of team-up stuff. This feels very much like a Marvel team-up book series, as opposed to necessarily a What If, or a combination of Marvel team-up and What If. This episode, not so much for me. I did not feel the characterization brought us into these characters as much as it did just furthered the plot. Everything felt very much like it was steering in a direction versus being actually evolving into these characters and why they'd be making these decisions. But I want to talk a lot more about it because I'm very curious how this show sticks the landing. There's been some real highs of this season, but some real lows. And for me personally, this episode was a bit of a dip in quality for me. But if you are new to this page, please hit that subscription bell. I love comic books. I love them so very much. And I love What If generally as a concept and as a series. And I read about 50 to 70 comics a week. And then I discuss each and every one of them on a show right here on this page, bringing you my favorite 9. And I try to make them approachable, easy access points. I also love conversations in the comments below. So please let me know what you thought of this episode, what you're thinking of season 3 so far. Let's actually have a conversation. Also, hit the like button while you're at it. Let's like this video. Okay, so season 3, episode 6. Is a Western Ten Rings episode. It is our first time having Shang-Chi back since his movie. It is our first time in a little bit, other than a brief credit scene in a movie, having Kate Bishop back. I love the duo. I love the Western concept. I love what the goals were for this episode. That cheeky little Iron Fist nod was fun. And I think our first canonical MCU Iron Fist. But overall, I just didn't have enough investment in this iteration of these characters to be all that interested. I had iteration associations with how much I think Simu Liu is a great Shang-Chi. I think Kate Bishop is a fascinating Hawkeye, and I think Hailee Steinfeld is an all-time great casting. But that's been my biggest draw for this episode, is I was just, ooh, it's exciting, they're back. But as far as the actual story, we didn't actually see them lose anything. So I personally didn't connect to their loss. I didn't know this kid's family. And so when we just see a bunch of people sitting still, they were just as inanimate as anything else. I will say the fighting in this episode, the choreography, the style, the framing, where the camera is utilized to maneuver through everything is fantastic. I think this is some of the best action in this season. But the storytelling, for me, it left a lot to be desired. I found myself in the throes of Western boredom, and that shouldn't be happening in a Marvel animated show. I think Westerns can be incredible. I think Unforgiven is sensational. I think that Tombstone is one of the best movies ever made. I think True Grit, both of them are fantastic. True Grit's amazing. But some Westerns are built for a different attention span than the modern audience. And I think there are times when a Western can be a bit drawn out. This episode, it held frames. You just hold on a door, you hold on a thought, and I don't know if that is the right choice, even though you're making a Western, for this story. And I felt the pacing was a bit all over the place because we were just trying to trudge through a story that I'm only so invested in, and the action can't really be everything. Nor can my association with the characters to their actors that I think do a good job. So, I don't know, I never really felt any sort of stakes. I never really thought the Hood would be a threat, and the Hood didn't even have magic elements discussed. The possession of the sister was just that she was defeated by the Hood, but we didn't even get to the demonic elements. We didn't get to what the Hood is. The reason I'm excited for the Hood and Ironheart is it's a gateway of magic and tech and sorcery and magic being street level and how much that pervades the world, and Ironheart's a street level story. Our first MCU The Hood is Shang-Chi's sister in a malevolent role that doesn't feel very threatening, that is then never explained. That's not the best. Because the Hood, you know, he's not meant to be a big bad, but he's meant to be a threat, and I didn't feel that. And I want that. I hope we get that with Anthony Ramos' take on Ironheart. I just talked last episode about how much I loved Ironheart and getting to further that characterization. I don't feel like we learned any more about Kate Bishop here. She just shot well. Like, that was just like really cool, you know, moments of cinematography. I also don't feel like we learned a lot more about Shang-Chi here. It was just moments of him, mourning his sister, and that's unfortunate. We want these characters to grow and to love them. The power of What If is to give us alternate perspectives on these archetypal characters so we're more invested from other ways as opposed to like going through the motions. So I think it just didn't really know what it wanted to be. I think it was one of those things where it was like, well, that's a cool idea. Let's see what it turns out to be. And then it doesn't really personally for me land. I wanted more from this one, and I thought the actors were all there for it. I was surprised at having Ant-Man and the Wasp's own Walton Goggins come back. They name dropped Justin Hammer. Hammer Steel was very clever because the hammer on a gun. I thought that was cheeky. Stark Tech, that was fun to tie into the world that way. I was never expecting to see Walton Goggins' character from Ant-Man to come back. I love Walton Goggins. That made me happy. It was certainly the biggest surprise next to Mysterio in yesterday's episode. But I thought he was more menacing than the Hood, and that's not good. If a henchman level character is a bigger threat in episode than the Hood as the big bad, that doesn't really work. And I wanted to feel more of the loss. I feel like Shang-Chi immediately was like, I've gone through enough therapy to know that you didn't kill her, the Hood did. Like, that felt so undermining. I don't know. The episode felt both too long and too short in its own way, which is a bummer. It didn't feel like it used the strength of animation for its action, certainly. But I feel like it didn't really do a service to the energy of these characters besides just the action. And that's a little bit of a letdown. So overall, this one and the first episode are my two like lower on the scale. I think this one was this is probably my least favorite episode. This is probably like a 4, whereas episode 1 was a 6. So this is probably my least favorite episode. This is the first episode that felt like a season 1 episode, which was my least favorite season. It's my bottom third of the MCU. Just didn't really hit for me. But if you liked it, and I hope you did, I always want people to enjoy art more than I do, then you got a better half an hour than I did. I always think, like, if you enjoyed something, hell yeah. If it connected to you, if it found its way into your soul, that's beautiful. And I think the actors did a great job. I think the animators did what they could. I think that it had ingredients. It just didn't add up to it didn't bake right. The souffle crumbled. But if you had a different experience, please let me know in the comments below. Let's have a little conversation about Shang-Chi and Kate Bishop teaming up for the first time. Again, a lot of Phase 4 heavies in Season 3 of What If, and it doesn't quite hit for me as much as I'd love it to, because I love a lot of these characters, and I'd love to see them shine. First, Iron Fist, canonically in the MCU, very interested there. But again, let's have a conversation. Leave a comment in the comments below. Hit that like if you enjoyed this conversation about this episode of What If. If you want Comic Rex, there is a new 2018 or 19 new Iron Fist, and he was mentioned here. Also, I love Hawkeye by Matt Fraction and David Aja, which is some incredible Kate Bishop Hawkeye stuff. Highly recommend that, as well as the Kate Bishop Hawkeye comics. Any run of those is pretty fantastic. Highly recommend that as well. So those are your Comic Recs. Check those out. That is going to do it for this commentary. I'll be back tomorrow with episode 7 of What If Season 3. I'll see you there. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate it very, very much. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.